Hello there and welcome. I'm Ole Brygger, and if you're new here, I really hope I'll earn your subscription today. In this video, I'll build a Stonehenge-like site where you maybe meet an encounter or something else. Who knows? Everything can happen in Dungeons & Dragons. I found this piece of foam. I think I got it on Amazon a while ago, and it will suit perfectly for one of my mega tiles. I will elevate the terrain a bit like a hill, and I have some scrap foam here as well to make some rocks. Not this big. But why don't we just get started? I'll use the full size of this piece of foam. I'll first cut some slopes with my hot wire cutter. On one of the sides, I left it without a slope. This is because I want some cliffs penetrating the terrain, and I just used my hobby knife to cut everything up very roughly. This is so you can see all the layers of the rocks. And to smooth everything up, I will hit it with a piece of sandpaper. I want to have a circle in the middle of the shrine, and for this I just used my brush holder. And then I started to draw in some tiles. This didn't actually work as I was expecting it to, so I gave up the method and started over. This didn't destroy the project. I just found a 3mm piece of foam. I set the size on a compass and drew a circle. And with this, I could draw some multiple circles and get them as I wanted. I also used this compass where I could attach a pencil, so I could highlight the lines a bit more. And then I could start drawing some lines. I just scorched the foam with my X-Acto knife and highlighted it with my pencil. And some more lines down the road, I had a circle with tiles. Say hello to Mr. Rock. This is a rock I found in my garden, and he's very good at roughing things up, give it some bumps and dents in a random way. I also wanted some symbols in the circle, so I just came up with some random symbols with a pencil. I also want a ramp up to the circle of the shrine. I just marked it up with my X-Acto knife and used my hot wire cutter to straighten it out, and drew in some cobblestones with a pencil. I used some PVA glue to glue on the new tile circle, and it would cover up the bad circle from before. And now to make 4 rock pillars. I found this piece of scrap foam that already had some dents in it, and it was the perfect size to cut up 4 long pillars of stone. I attached the rock pillars with some hot glue, and as you can see, I'm already wearing a glove. This is because next step is to put on some Mod Podge. This is Mod Podge mixed with black paint in a 50-50 ratio and a tiny drop of water. The Mod Podge will seal up all the foam, and when you use black paint, it is also working as a base primer. The dry time of the Mod Podge is a couple of hours, and while it was still wet, I used some scenery sand to give it some more texture. To make sure the scenery sand would stay in place, I sprayed it with some PVA glue thinned down with water. Now the model has been drying for a couple of hours, and it's time to give it some color. I used this UK bronze green from Vallejo to paint it with my airbrush, where I'm going to put on some grass later. For the rocks, tiles and cobblestones, I used this Vallejo German Panzer Grey. I just love using this color for rocks, bricks and cliffs, since it's grey with a tiny green tint to it. For the rocky part of the build, I use this cavern base. This is from the Army Painter Game Master Starter Kit, Dungeons and Caverns. Most of the colors I'm going to use next is also from this kit. I'll also use the same color for dry brushing all the green terrain. Next up, some dungeon base for the rocks, tiles and cobblestone. And then I will use a light grey pan pastel just to give it a more dusty and random look. Some cavern highlights to give some highlights to the rocky terrain. Some strong tone wash for the tiles and the rocky terrain. Some dungeon highlights with a very light dry brush. I will wipe off almost all the paint from the brush. Now for some flocking, I use the summer undergrowth and battlefield grass from the army painter. I will apply this basing glue with a brush and sprinkle on the grass where it's green and some summer growth where it's brown. To give the grass some more nuances, I will just lightly sprinkle this dry green from Green Stuff World, and the final effect will be some tufts. I will just use the rest of my basing glue to attach them all over the model. And one last thing, I wanted to use this on top of my campfire tile, and it was a bit wobbly, so I just carved out a hole that would fit around the campfire, and that seemed to take care of that problem. This was a pretty simple build, and it took less than a day. I think I spent more time waiting for things to dry up so I could continue the work, but this is going to be very useful in my campaign. This is it for now. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you soon.